Hey folks, welcome to Soul Talk. I'm so excited today. We have Sweft Washington in the house. Hey Sweft. Sweft is a first-class international solo dancer who's just returned to the States after spending nearly 2 years performing all over China. So welcome back and welcome to Soul Talk. Hey love, how are you?
Thank you. I am amazing. Now I'm so happy to be here, and I'm nervous and I'm excited. All those things bundled up into one. So
don't be nervous. This is just friends talking. You know, I've known Sweft for years, you guys. Back in the day when I was doing Arts Life Entertainment, I was producing these events in Houston and trying to get, you know, dancers and artists together to kind of promote their work. And how many shows did you perform in? A number of them, I believe.
At least four.
Right.
I think I did the very first one at Club Numbers off West Town.
Yeah, absolutely. And so he's just an incredibly amazing spirit, just so positive, so personable, and a great professional in person. And so I just had to have him on. So I'm so excited to share your story and talk about everything that you've been doing in your dance life. Yeah?
Yes.
So tell us how you got started dancing.
Well, I don't have one of those typical "I've been dancing since I was 3 years old" stories. Mine is it's quite interesting because my dancing abilities actually derived from karate, from martial arts.
Okay.
From the Chuck Norris Kick Drugs Out of America program.
Okay.
This was when I was about 11 and a half years old. I joined karate, so I'm a martial artist at heart.
Okay.
And, that's where my dance abilities derived from. But I actually started dancing super late. I took my very first dance class when I was 17.
That's okay. I hear that more and more these days. I think that's cool.
Yeah, and I did that, but see, I had already had some abilities from my martial arts training, because a lot of the different things that you need are already there, like the correlations. Like, for example, it's choreography in martial arts and dance. It's muscle memory in martial arts and dance. It's timing. All those things. It was like a perfect alignment.
Okay.
But I started, to answer your question, I started dancing in 2003 of August at ACC Central. That's when I took my very, very first dance class.
Nice. And so when you started dancing, did you know, like, okay, this is what I'm going to do for a living? Or what was that journey like from taking that first class to now, you know, you are a professional dancer?
I think I knew. I wasn't sure at that time because I had literally just gotten the introduction to dance. I participated in my high school talent show in 2003. As a matter of fact, the exact date was March 21st. I looked this up on Google I pushed in 2005 calendar so I can get the exact day right. It was on a Friday. And I participated in my high school talent show, and I'd never done anything like that. I don't know where I got the courage from to do it, to even participate. I was scared. I was nervous, man. And I'd always like danced in my school dances, but I was like, during the school time when school was in, you know, I was kind of like the nerd in during school, but at school dances, I was like day and night. But anyway, I did my high school talent show, and it was the best decision I ever made in my life. And that's how I got interested in dance. And I won first place in the talent show, and the girls were screaming. I said, I like that. I like that a lot. I did. I love when those girls were screaming. I'm like, oh my God, I have to find out what this is about. And I you know, that's sparked my interest in dance to just the energy, you know, that energy conversion between myself and the audience was amazing. I still like have that energy now. I still remember that exact moment, those moments. And I was just getting ready to graduate high school that year also. Mm-hmm. And I just found a college here in Houston that offered dance classes, and it just, everything evolved from there.
Nice.
After I found that dance class. So
nice. So then when it comes to you doing it professionally, did you start auditioning? Did you just start putting yourself out there saying, hey, I have this to offer? What was that like for you?
Okay. I love that I referenced to my karate training, because I started dancing professional only 2 years after I took my first dance class. Because of my karate training I developed quick
in your body, right?
I think I had only auditioned once in 2004. Before that, for Fly Dance Company, and I did make it. I was heartbroken that I didn't make it, but I believe in God's path for us, even if I don't recognize it at the moment.
Right.
But after that audition, I auditioned in 2005 for the Houston Comets, and that was my first professional job. Nice. And the first time I had ever danced on a dance team, and I made it.
Nice.
So I started my professional dance career with the Houston Comets and I danced with them for 2 seasons, in 2005 and 2006. So I was performing in the Toyota Center every week. Whenever the season was in, 10,000 people every day, or every game. So that's how I started.
Nice. That's nice. I love that. Okay, so we know how you took your first dance class. We know how you got started. What's the first thing that you did? So you feel like the Houston Comets is definitely like your very first big kind of.
By far. Yeah. I mean, who gets to perform in the Toyota Center every week? You know what I mean? And not only that, though, I mean, it really, talk about some pressure.
Yeah.
That's some pressure. And I needed that pressure so I can be molded into, what a professional can handle and how to conduct yourself and things like that. Because we were representing, a multi-million-dollar franchise.
Yeah, right.
And I mean, I was just so grateful to have that opportunity, because just like I'm saying, it was just the beginning of my molding into a professional.
Nice. I really love that. Okay, so then tell us how you ended up in China.
Oh man, this is one of my favorite stories. I love sharing this story. So my godfather taught me the idea of everything is negotiable. Keep things open. Mm-hmm. I'll give an example of what I mean. This is the example I usually use. Mm-hmm. If I ask you, hey, let's go out to dinner tonight, and you're like, oh, I'm busy tonight. And if I just say, oh, okay, well, maybe next time, I just cut our opportunity short. Okay. But if I say, how about tomorrow night? How about the next night? Until the answer is yes.
Okay.
That's keeping, or at least keeping it open. Right. And a lot of people, it's just one of those things. It's a gaining of wisdom. Mm-hmm. Like my godfather had to say that to me one day, and I was like, you know what? That makes sense. Mm-hmm. So how did I get to China? One of my coworkers, I was teaching at the Jewish Community Center in 2009. Mm-hmm. And I was getting ready to end a class, and one of my coworkers was coming in to start a class, and he was like, hey, they're looking for a teacher at this Chinese studio. And I didn't know anything about the studio or their status or anything, but I love new introductions. Like, I don't care. I don't care like what status a person or a place is. I always take an introduction at least, because you never know who you're turning down.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I at that point in my life, I was literally really busy. I was running my professional company. I was teaching 16 classes a week. and I was going to college full time. Like I literally was busy. And because of my godfather taught me that everything's negotiable and keep the conversation open, I knew there wasn't an excuse for me being too busy. I knew I could make the schedule work if I just give an introduction. So because my godfather taught me that, I was like, you know what? I told my coworker at the Jewish Community Center, give me the phone number, let me make a contact, and I'll set something up with them. Mm-hmm. And I taught one dance to the kids at the Chinese dance school. It's called J&H dance, by the way, here in Chinatown in Houston.
Okay.
And I taught one dance, and one of the partners of the dance studio who became my sponsor, she flew over from China, as she does every year, to, you know, help out with the recital and stuff like that. And she saw my work, and she was told about the way that I, you know, handled the kids. The kids really loved me, and they liked how professional I was. And that's literally how I got the opportunity.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I just want to throw this side note in. I know I'm always like beating a dead horse on this subject, but I'm always talking about how Dancers Network and the way we do it is in class, right? So you weren't necessarily taking the class, but you were teaching it and you were in class, right? So you were in the studio, that's the point, made some connections. One connection led you to another, and that next connection led you to freaking China, right?
Yeah. And the thing about that is that I thought that I had absolutely no idea that these people would even offer this. I just thought I was going to go teach another dance class.
Yeah, you never really knew.
And look how later on in the interview, they'll hear, you know, how much it changed my entire life. It's taken on a totally different meaning for me now.
Nice. So let's just lead in right to that. So you went, you said, off camera, you guys, he told me that he went first in 2010 for about 5 weeks, and then he went back in 2012. Was that with the same studio?
Yeah, with the same sponsor.
So they sponsored you back again in 2012 for another month, and then y'all tell them what happened next.
Well, I was asked to move there by my sponsor in 2014. Which is, you know, when things really changed. I was like, oh God, you know, like I've been there before, but only for like 4 or 5 weeks. But living in a different country is like a different ball game.
Let me tell you, yes, we were in Shanghai that was 2009 or 2010, you know, the Marvelous folks and I, for 3 months. So how many weeks?
Marvelous Motions, right?
Yeah, so it was Brandon, myself, Tiffany, and Adrian. Therefore, it was 3 months. November, I can't even remember. The fall. And just those, when I came back in December, so I was coming back in December, I was back for Thanksgiving. I was like, oh my gosh, I miss America so much. Like, being away for that long, in a country when we were in Shanghai, you know, so it was very much city, but it was very much a culture shock, very much, you know, learning to do things differently, the food, the everything. And, you know, I'm a Southern girl, and, you know, I want what I want, you know, what you want. Yeah. So tell us about that, those 2 years almost that you were there when you went back as a freelancer this time.
Yeah, I'll transition into that. So I stayed for 8 months being sponsored in 2014, and then I moved back to Houston for about 8 months. And then during that 8 months that I was there in 2014, I had found romance. I fell in love with yes. I fell in love with a beautiful Chinese girl there. And that was one of the reasons that, you know, motivated me to move back in 2015 freelance.
Okay.
But anyway, after the 8 months that I was here back in Houston, I moved back to China 100% freelance in 2015. And this is the longest I've ever stayed there, for like 1 year and 5 months. And I hadn't even really freelanced here in America before. So it was like, I knew for a fact that it was going to be a multifaceted challenge, which is, I did it on purpose too, because I knew that I needed to be able to feel and handle that kind of pressure. And sure enough, I got exactly what I asked for. It was the toughest feat of my life, like in my career, for sure.
How did you even begin? So did the person that initially sponsored you, was she able to at least, offer some opportunities and gigs to kind of help you get going?
Well, what it was another thing about business, because we are educating our, fellow up and coming dancers, which is one of the main reasons for this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Before I even agreed to move to China in 2014 to work with her, we had to agree to some stipulations, which a lot of dancers don't know how to do. I really want to emphasize on the importance of understanding, how to ask for things so your needs can be met too. That's very important. The deal has to be mutual. And one of those things for me was, I was like, I am not going to give up everything that I already have going, because I had it going on.
You had a company and everything.
Yeah, like I had it going on before I moved. And I was like, I'll be giving up all of that. Mm-hmm. But I knew I'd be giving it up for a much larger possible opportunity. It was a huge risk. But that's what the real game changers do. They take those huge risks. And I was like, well, this risk is going to have to make sense to me if I take it. And I was like, okay, I'll focus really hard on your school for 6 months. This was to my sponsor. But in exchange, I need you to introduce me to some individuals that can really help boost my career over there. Nice. I need some real things happening, like some significant progress. Mm-hmm. And, that didn't all pan out well for some, for one reason or another, which is actually a typical thing in entertainment in general, which is fine. Everything is not always going to pan out to what you agree to. And I want to emphasize on another point too. You shouldn't blame, like, for example, I can't blame my sponsor wholly, that kind of thing. It just didn't pan out. But I realized that, wow, it's a lot of possible opportunity here for me in China to personal brand myself. Mm-hmm. And that's when I started getting into personal branding. And that's why I started freelancing, because I knew that I would be limited under a sponsorship if the sponsorship wasn't significant enough.
Right. You'd always be tied to their brand. You'd always be associated with them.
Yeah. And I probably wouldn't have the leverage or the leeway to kind of, work with other potential business partners, that kind of thing. Yeah. So in 2000, this time when I lived in China, I was doing something totally different, which was building my personal brand.
Okay.
So now I'm into personal branding.
Which is important. It's something else we talk about on The Working Dancer. We dancers don't really necessarily want to hear that word business skills, but the truth of the matter is your freelance dance career is a business. Like, you are a business. And so it's not just going to some auditions and working some projects. You've got to market yourself, and that's where your quality headshots, resumes, websites come in, right? You've got to know how to network. That's getting in class, building those relationships. You've got to know how to have a good work ethic. You got to make sure your client is happy. Like, that's you are running a business. And so branding is incredibly important, because that's how people are going to think of you. That's how they're going to, associate you and your work. So I think that's really smart.
I want to say this one point before we move on. That's why I commend institutions like the HSPVA. Mm-hmm. I did not get that kind of training. Like, those kids are so well trained, not just in the arts, but on the business side too. Like, they go into the world kind of knowing how to already get into the business in a more realistic way, that kind of thing. And I
high school for the performing and visual arts here in Houston, you guys, just in case you don't know HSP.
Yeah. It's one of the most, oh my God, it's one of the most highly regarded art schools in the country. They do a fascinating job with their students there. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah.
For sure. So You just kind of made some connections and made it work in China for a year and 5 months.
Yeah. And I mean, I had never had my own place here in Houston. I had my own first place. I mean, I was managing myself, which was like super tough. Imagine managing yourself and in another country where you don't speak the language.
I was about to say, what about that language barrier? Did you?
I learned that survival Chinese, girl. I did. I learned, you better believe I got it, you know. Yeah, I learned what I needed to say. So.
We had a translator when we were there. I tried to pick up a couple words, so I don't know how you did it without somebody, you know.
Well, I also have to give a lot of props to my unfortunately, my ex-girlfriend now. She helped me a lot. She helped me a lot. She was very well educated, Shanghainese girl. She spoke English very well, and she helped me a lot. And I found, you know, Chinese friends that will also help me whenever I needed help. Oh, and I want to give credit to the expat community in China. Excellent, excellent, excellent community. I have never seen so many different kind of people from all over the world like work and help each other together. The expat community in China is absolutely amazing. They really stick together.
Can you explain to viewers who might not know what that is? What is the expat community?
Expats are pretty much foreigners that live in any other country that isn't their native country, pretty much. So no matter where you're from, if you're living in another country, you're an expat. Right.
So there were, we actually made friends while we were there, you know, and there's a lot of performers in China. Like the culture, for some reason, they just bring over international performers. And so we met, you know, singers, someone from the Philippines and people from Germany and Africa and all of these different countries. And we stumbled, you know, in Shanghai. Obviously, I can't remember. It's been years. It's this little touristy shopping place where there's restaurants and bars and that kind of thing. I can't remember the name of the district.
Was it called CTND? No.
It slips my mind. It really slips my mind. If I after this showed you some pictures, you might be able to recognize where it was. But in this area where a lot of foreigners, and you know, we were all able to connect and mesh, and so after we finished performing at night, we're able to, you know, connect with people, and it was really a nice kind of safe haven, you know, kind of feel like, oh, we're not the only outsiders, we're not the only ones who are, you know, different. So I appreciated that. Nice. Okay, so then what, you just decided enough was enough and you came back, or?
No, actually I came back for a reason that didn't have anything to do with my career. Actually, unfortunately, one of my baby sisters actually got diagnosed with heart failure disease. Yeah, and I was like, well, she had already been battling lupus, which is already serious enough. And I was like, you know what? That's a double sign. Like, I think I need to be closer to home because China's like 10,000 miles away from Houston. I was like, you need to move back home. Like that's an obvious signal of like, you know, it's just a change you need to make. And I mean, I don't care how well my career might be going, like that's my sister, you know, that's my baby sister. I need to be there, that kind of thing. So I moved back. Yeah, I moved back for her. But the nice thing about it though is that it's not like, oh my God, that's the end of China, you know, and my relation. Like, and people always ask me, are you going to go back? Are you going to go back? I was like, I'll always go back to China because it just has such a special place in my heart. And it has done so many amazing things for my career. I was performing, you know, when you gave me my introduction, you mentioned I'm a first class performer. That's because when I went, I was being flown from Shanghai to like Beijing to perform solo performances first class. That means that my trips were arranged. Everything was arranged for me on these trips. And they were in prestigious venues, things like that, with my own driver, 5-star hotels and stuff like that. Like that kind of first class stuff.
Red carpet treatment, huh, Sweft?
That's right, yeah. After a lot of hard work though, and persistence.
Yeah.
Let me clarify that.
I love that. Okay, so then now what are you working on?
What I'm doing now is I'm still continuing to build my personal brand, and what I'm gonna do is or what I'm doing right now is putting together a YouTube video concept video campaign to help promote that
Okay.
my personal brand. I'll probably start shooting those productions probably the beginning of June or something like that. So all my Houston people, look out for like my call for extras and stuff like that, and some of my professional dance friends in Houston
Wink,
and other places.
wink. Yeah.
What's that? What'd you say?
No, I said no. Wink, wink, huh? Get
Yeah,
ready, get ready.
yeah. Two winks. I'm a
Right.
terrible winker. But I'm working on my personal brand building. I just started because another thing that I want to clarify to dancers too is don't be afraid to try other things within the entertainment realm. I'm actually starting to DJ.
Nice.
I'm
Look,
starting to DJ.
do your thing.
Um,
You've got to be able to get paid, y'all. So you're gonna have to pick up more than one skill, okay?
that's right. You need to pick up, and it's nice that that skill correlates with what I do anyway. I mean, music DJing. I've been doing Born by Mitzvah since 2005, so I get down,
Right.
that kind of thing. But I'm getting into that with DJing right now. What else?
You said you were working on a studio.
Now with that, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna fall back a little bit on actually opening my building because I want to fund it 100% on my own.
Okay.
So but I am going to start teaching regular weekly classes,
Build your audience.
in the fall.
Okay.
To start building up my student base, and then from there, after I accumulate enough funds, I'll go ahead and eventually open up my own actual location, own building.
Very smart. Smart way to do it, you guys. Building an audience is so important to everything that you're doing. You can build some incredible services, products, whatever you got. If you don't have anybody there to buy it, doesn't matter. That's how Beyonce can drop an album and sell out with no promo because she has an audience that's already waiting for her to hear her. So that's very
And she did it over more than a 20-year period now.
Right.
I want to make that very clear. All those times when Beyonce was struggling, people don't know about that.
Yeah.
She is massive now, massive, and she's still growing.
Yeah, because she's still hungry and she still, makes it about the work. It's not just about, I think this is a whole other topic, but just a little side note. It ties into a recent blog post I just posted called The Secret to, Keeping Work and Getting More Work. Something like that is the title. And basically I talk about how, a lot of people make the mistake of putting themselves before the work, right? So that's where you get these diva attitudes. That's where and nobody really wants to work with a diva. So if you want to keep working, you got to stay humble, right? And stay humble. It's not really about us. We're always in service to our project, to our work, and to this message, and to dance, to the arts. We're always in service to the arts. So if you always are mindful of that, you will go incredibly far. Like you'll always be working because when you honor the work will always honor you. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean to a mathematical, I don't even know what word to use. Because let me tell you something. That is. I built my following from grassroots. Most other people that follow me, I've actually met these people and I know them. Like that. And now it's getting to a point to where people are finding me and I actually, I don't know who they are. Like I've never met them or anything like that. But, I love that you touched on being professional and being humble as possible and things like that, because one thing people do not forget is how you treat them. No matter how, if it's professional or not, either way, they remember it.
Yep.
And I know for a fact that I want people to remember me as always being as professional as I understand how to be. And that derives from my martial arts training too. Like we were trained very serious about that because all we have is our reputation. And I know you know that.
Yep.
So when people mention your name, they need to think of something excellent.
Yep. And the industry is really small, y'all. People talk and it is what it is. So yes, I love it, Sweft. So how can everybody get in touch with you? Where can they reach you?
Right now, definitely on Facebook. I live on Facebook.
Yeah.
I do have it. It's like /Swifty.
With an E?
Yeah, SW, but that one is SWEFTY.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
And that's an easy way for people to find you. So we'll put that up.
Okay.
Facebook.com/Swifty.
Yeah.
Find him, and he's always there, and he will make you feel right at home. So make sure you reach out to him. Nice. And as we wrap up, is there, any special tip, and what's the biggest thing that you would share with, dancers that can really help them out? You've already shared a lot. The negotiation tip was amazing. Tip on professionalism, the connections, the thought about, making sure that they are open their mouths and ask for what they need. I think that's something that's important that needs to be heard. Anything else you want to leave that's like, this is what you need to know to make your dance career happen? Something that's helped you?
I mean, the number one thing I think, or I should say at least one of the most important things, is go and find people that are already being successful. They'll talk to you most likely. Go find those people. Mm-hmm. Go find where they are and ask them every question. You know what I did in 2004, only less than a year actually, before I started dancing, I flew all the way to New York to go and ask people questions.
Wow.
I couldn't believe I did that. I never got on the airplane, and I talked with Mariah Carey's choreographer and Puff Daddy's choreographer. His name is Stretch. Mm-hmm. And he's like a original popper or something like that. But I flew all the way there literally just to ask them questions about how to be successful in my career. So if you're serious, you'll go and find those people, and it won't be any limits.
Yes, I love that. Thank you so much, Swift. That is incredible. Yes, do your research, find people to talk to, watch all our podcast episodes and get tips there.
Yes, watch my girl's podcast, please. It's very informative and sincere.
It'll save you some money on airfare because we got people right here on the internet for you. That's
right. And you interview people internationally. I saw you interview a guy all the way in India. I saw that.
England, yeah. So
that's right. Yeah, the gentleman from England.
So yeah, I can save y'all all kinds of dough. You just look at the workingdancer.com/podcast. Okay. Anyways, thank you so much, Swift, for being here. I've so enjoyed this conversation, and I know the audience has too. So thank you.
Are you still there?
Yes. Okay. We had a slight technical faux pas, but we're still here.
That's okay, we're here.
So thanks again. I really appreciate it. I love your story. It's so inspiring. I love your spirit. I've always loved your energy and your positivity, and I think everybody should be as warm and welcoming as you. It really makes a difference. So I appreciate you. Love everything that you're doing. Thank you again for lending your time and your expertise to the Working Dancer. And until next time, happy dancing, folks. Bye.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.